Hi, I'm Tanya Armstrong of Radio Fight Center. We're at Web Sports Media Studios in Pointe-Claire, Quebec, home of Montreal Hockey Talk, Radio Fight Center, and Parle Hockey. My guest today is Dru Onyx, NCW Quebec champion, who will be facing Pat Guénette May 4th at Challengemania here in Montreal. Dru, thanks for joining us.
You know, it's definitely a pleasure to be here. When I had the opportunity to come and be interviewed by you, I just thought, hey, that would be an experience for both me and the fans.
So we're going to get into a little bit of your history, but I just wanted to know, what have you been up to thus far?
Okay, well, I've been still wrestling in different promotions, but predominantly in Northern Championship Wrestling. I'm currently the Quebec champion, and I've had successful defenses throughout the year. That's
great. Have you been training a lot? What is your plan? What's going on?
Well, as far as a few people know, that I currently run a pro wrestling school, Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo. And in between training the future, I also get my time in to train with my top prospects to keep me sharp. In between that, I'm also training at the JKS Martial Arts Studio at least 3 times a week. And on the weekends, I'm definitely applying my trade wrestling and making sure I'm making my appearances at NCW.
That's great. Now, Challengemania, this is a pretty big event. Yeah. I wanted to know, what does Challengemania mean to you?
It means a lot. It's one of the most important, it's the most important show at NCW. It's one of the biggest shows in Montreal, Quebec, as far as independent wrestling. And it means a lot for the simple fact that you give it your all. You give 110% all the time, but you give 200% at Challengemania. It means that you leave everything in the ring, sweat, blood, and tears. It means proving yourself to yourself and to everybody that you're the very best at what you do. And it gives you an opportunity to let people see your greatness.
And greatness, you are pretty awesome. I wanted to know as well, what was the first Challengemania that you saw?
Oh, wow. The first time I saw Challengemania was 2000. A little bit of a backstory. I started out in NCW 13 years ago. This is actually my second run. This is the first time I've been back in almost 13 years. And I was trained by Mark the Grizzly. At that time, he was the current NCW Quebec champion, so I had the opportunity to be trained by the very best. I had an all-star cast of students. The majority of the students that were training with me went on to go on and do bigger things. And I was also surrounded by his previous students who were top, like people like Chase Ironside, people like Shaquille, TNT, Heavy Max Fury. I had an opportunity, Frankie the Mobster was in my class also, so, you know, there was a competitiveness, but a positive one, and you just learned. And I graduated in 99. My first match actually was in Barnois, I believe June 19th, 1999. I might be off by the date, but my first match was a main event at the arena against Mark the Grizzly. So whereas most people, you know, have to start out, you know, as the curtain jerker, I'm in the main event, you know. So and all that was because, you know, Mark had faith in me, and upon that, after cutting my teeth with that match, I didn't win the match, but I went on and I had a couple of matches. I had at least about 10 or 11 matches before I had to leave NCW because I had an opportunity to a lot of people don't know, I played football, and I was at the semi-pro level at the time I joined the NCW wrestling school. And I had an opportunity, I had an NFL tryout in Connecticut, and going there, I had an opportunity to speak to some of the scouts, and one of the scouts was not the head coach, but the assistant head coach for the Ottawa Gigi. And he felt that I had a great opportunity to get a chance to go and play football for the CFL. At that time, the Ottawa Rough Riders were coming back, and they thought, you know what, come to our school, give a year, and then get drafted. So I had to make a decision. As much as I love wrestling, and I always do, I said, you know what, I can only play football for a selected time. It's an opportunity, not everyone has a chance. So I decided to go to university for my last year The organization totally understood, and they told me that, whenever you have a chance, come on back. Just before I left to go to Ottawa University, Challengemania, which I think was in May then. It was Challengemania 8. The main event was Pierre-Carl Ouellet versus Glenn Kulka.
And this was your first
That's
participation?
the first time. No, not participation.
Okay.
This was the first time watching it as a fan. Like I said, I just started to wrestle. No, I didn't even start because it was in May. So, I was right. May 2000. So, yeah, I've already wrestled. I was heading to go to university, and I checked it out, and I couldn't believe, for an independent show, the professionalism, the look of it, how many people. Up to then, that was the most I've ever seen in one area. And the wrestling was top notch. NCW always had a concept of good wrestling. When you went to NCW, you knew you were going to see good wrestling, but then you saw good wrestling go an extra notch. And I said, okay, well, this is what happens when you go to Challengemania. You got to bust your ass. So May 8th, I think it was May 8th, I can't remember. But anyway, the point is, Challengemania 8 was the first time I saw it, and it really got to me. And I said, you know what, when I come back, I'm going to be in a Challengemania.
So speaking of these big name independent wrestlers, Frankie the Mobster, Chacal, and yourself being included in that list of top-notch wrestlers in Quebec, when did you get your first chance at a Challengemania?
Believe it or not, it was last year. Like I said, it was 13 years in the making. After I left for university, I didn't come back to NCW right away. I was in Ottawa for a year and a half. And when I came back, I went to another promotion, and then another one. And what happened was, I was still plying my trade. I was still trying to get better. I was trying to get to a point where athletically and entertainment-wise, I could be better than most. So I wrestled in different organizations. I was wrestling in FLQ, Paul LeDuc's promotion. IWS at the time had a real big following, and I just went to different places. Then I got hooked up with the NWA, and from the NWA, not only did I wrestle, but I also promoted for them. I was the Quebec promoter for NWA, and I was also on the board of directors for the NWA.
And the NWA has got a really huge history in the wrestling industry as well.
National Wrestling Alliance, more than 40 years. It's the oldest governing body of professional wrestling in the world. What a lot of people don't know, WWE was an offshoot from NWA. TNA used the NWA as a platform and became an offshoot. Japanese promotions, at one point the NWA was, one of the biggest promotions, and I had the opportunity to work with them, and I've been a champion for them quite a bit. I was three-time British Commonwealth champion, one-time United Kingdom champion, one-time North American champion, one-time Canadian tag team champion, two-time Quebec champion. So for a couple of years I was branded NWA. Then after that, just opportunities arose where I had an opportunity to go back to NCW. Anthony Tonin was the gentleman that said, "Hey, how would you like to come back?" And I'm like, I don't know how, that would fit. And he said, it will fit for sure. So come check this out. And I did, and it's just been, for the most part, a very good experience.
So with this huge list of titles that you've accomplished, that you've earned, what does this title, the NCW Quebec Championship, mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. It was the first title I ever wanted. I have sketchbooks of me drawing my version of the Quebec title when I won it, and that was like 14 years ago. For me, what a lot of people need to realize, NCW is one of the oldest promotions in Canada, and their title, that title, has the longest lineage that's still running today, more than 25 years, or almost 25 years, and that's crazy. And I always felt, I've had, like I said, I was an NWA Quebec champion, and NWA has a certain, status and I've been a CRW champion, and that was a good run. But as far as I was concerned, truthfully, and I may have not admitted it at the time, I knew that if you said you were Quebec champion, the 3 letters that should have been before it was NCW. So for me to have an opportunity, you got to remember, my first match was for the NCW championship. And I remember Mark the Grizzly after the match saying, "You'll be a future NCW champion." And, you know.
So you're coming home.
Yeah, I came home and I had to get it. I had to take it. It's very important.
So another question now. I'd like to know how the NCW fans are receiving you.
Bunch of turncoats. A bunch of hypocrites. When I went there, I was a fan favorite. You know, I did everything possible to let them know that I was there for them. Past experiences, people would say Dru Onyx, you know, could be an unsavory character, but I like to win. And, you know, you could bend rules just once, you don't break them, and if you have to break them, have a good reason, and there's no other good reason than winning. I like winning. I'm a competitor. I love getting my hand raised. I love being acknowledged for being the best. So, you know, when Pat Guénette told me to, you know, come down, he needed help because he was getting his ass kicked down there. I said, okay, I'll do it. But 2 things is, you know, I'll come, save your ass, but I will also go after my dream. So when I went there as a fan favorite, the fans loved it. I was, you know, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing all that. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they don't like something that you do, they turn on you. They're almost like Canadian hockey fans. All right? No, it's true. You know, they love the Canadians when they're doing right, and as soon as, you know, something they don't understand, they turn their back, they hate them, and that's the same thing with the NCW fans. I haven't changed my style. I'm still the same individual. I'm still giving 110%, but now they decide they want to side, you know, with the second place runner-up, and I don't understand it, but you know what? You know, misery loves company, so they can keep them. But as far as the NCW fans, you know, I can tell them a few places where they can go.
Now, your relationship with Pat Guénette, how did that start? Beginning, middle, end.
As I was saying to you before, I was an NWA promoter for Quebec, and I used to run shows in Laval. And Patrick Lano, who is an amazing announcer and booker in his own right, came up to me. He was one of the bookers at my promotion, and he said, "You know what? I want you to look at this young talent. I think he's really good. I think he's a good fit, and you should look at him." And I always trusted Pat's judgment, and I said, "Okay, well, just send me a picture of what he looks like, and we'll see." And when I saw him, you know, white meat baby face, you know what I mean, great smile, good shave. I said, "All right, I'm gonna bring him into the show." So I got him on my show. He was dealing with some injuries with his ankle, and the thing that I appreciated and I respected was the fact that even though he had a bad ankle, he did the match. He gave 110%. I remember backstage walking up to him and I said, "Hey, you know, you did a good match." And he was just down on himself. He said, like, I could have given a better performance. So that was the first time I had an opportunity to speak with him and talk to him. And as the years went by, you know, I mean, I think there was a gradual and admiration for, you know, on both parties.
Mutual admiration.
Yeah, and it was cool. I respected what he was doing in MWF. He was fighting some monster down there, and I was kicking ass, and I was always hearing, you know, positive and good stuff of what he was doing. And you know, we both live in Laval, and you know, when I finally, you know, when he told me that, you know, I need some help at NCW, can you help me? You know, I said, "Oh, sure," as a friend and as somebody, you know, who I had respect for him. You know, I was willing to help out somebody. You know, I like to help the needy.
You're such a giver.
Yeah.
So your relationship now, you were friends beginning, you were comrades, you were co-workers.
Yeah.
How did that change?
Greed, selfishness, combination of those both. When I got into the NCW, he was the inner city champion, which is the secondary title. I never asked for a title shot. I never, even if I was in a position for a title shot and we're supposed to be friends, I wouldn't do that because I know that's taking away status, that's taking away potential earnings, and that's just going to cause bad blood. So at that time, he was having problems with the agency, and he said, okay. And I told him before we even started, I have no problems, but I want to go for the Quebec title after. And he said, cool. As soon as I got the Quebec title,
things changed.
Yeah, he no longer was happy with the intercity title, which is a great title also. And while he was still champion, and instead of dealing with the contenders for that title, he starts inching his way now to my title. And I felt
that
like
you earned.
that I earned. So I'm like, listen, handle your title. I don't want any conflict. I don't want any issues. I don't want any problems between us. I always feel money breaks up friendships, and so does titles. So when he asked for a title shot, and just out of respect, and I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I didn't want the fans to get under my case, because it was actually the first time in years that I was a fan favorite, and I was enjoying it. I said, all right. And I gave him a title shot, and it ended up as a no contest. We shook hands after. It was a good match, nothing underhanded, the best of his ability, the best of my abilities, and the match was over. There was an interference by Jay Phenomenon, and that was it. So he thought, like, business wasn't finished, we need to finish it. The match lasted 15 minutes. Jay Phenomenon only got there at 15 minutes. You had 14 minutes to beat me. It didn't happen. It didn't take. You know what I mean? And that's how I felt about that. I gave him a title shot. Then he started asking for another title shot. And I find that as the equivalent as the title's like my house. All right? You asking for a title shot is, you want to come and visit. You can come visit my house, but don't say you want to take over the house. You want to live in my house now. This
Very
is
good
my
analogy.
house. So that was the issue. Now what came on after that, even though he was asking for a title shot, we had a tag team match and against Osmosis, Pitbull Brando and William Brady, and things weren't going as well. Whenever I needed to get tagged, he was nowhere to be seen. I was getting beaten on. As soon as I tagged him in, everything started to pick up for our team. And then the last thing I know, I got hit with the chair. He hit me with the chair. A match before that, he almost hit me with my own belt. You know what I mean?
He says gradually turning on you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you know what I mean, you have your own title, and then he lost his title, so now he's coming after me even more. He's complaining about not getting a title shot, and then I almost get hit with my own belt. He complains about not getting a title shot, and then I get clocked in the head. He said he meant to hit somebody else. But if you're a babyface, why are you even picking up a chair? Do you understand? If you have the skill set, handle it. You know what I mean? So after that, after the second time, miscommunications, I had to let him know I had enough. So I let him know. I just returned the favor, clocked him with the chair, and then now we're at the place that we are.
So you're training for this match, hardcore.
Yeah.
What are your plans going into the match? What's your strategy to face Pat Guénette?
Pat can't deal with me on the power level. Despite my size, my cardio, my stamina, I've been known for going for matches 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't think he can keep up with that. Don't get me wrong, he's a great competitor. He has a fighting spirit. You know what I mean? But I've always viewed him as a light heavyweight. And I'm a super heavyweight. And I don't think he's going to be able to withstand. We already had a fight where feelings or emotions weren't involved. And I had him handled. That being said, he's now put himself in a position. He went on and fought other bigger guys, I guess, to get prepared for me. I don't think he's training like I'm training. I'm at JKS. I'm at the martial arts doing my boxing 3 times a week. I'm doing circuit training twice a week. I'm running 7K at least once a week. I'm training with my top students at the torture chamber. Being the champ, you're able to have all these opportunities to improve and get better and stuff like that. I know as a contender, he's hungry, but he's not going to eat at my table.
Oh, wow. Well said. Well said. Well, Dru, thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Thanks for sitting with us. Your torture chamber, we could find you online at www.
Well, no, you can check us out on Facebook. So Facebook tcprodojo.com. Anybody who wants to know more information about Northern Championship Wrestling, www.ncw.qc.ca. Anybody who wants to know about May 4th Challengemania, www.challengemania.ca.com. You can check. And all the people who are going to be coming to the event, you're going to see a great match. You're going to see a great series of matches, but the main event is going to be a great match. For those who haven't bought tickets, come check it out. There's intense rivalry and hatred. He doesn't like me. I don't like him. It's just more than a match. It's an opportunity to see who's going to be the king of the mountain. You know, I mean, he feels he's so. I feel I'm the king of everything. Two of us can't stand on the mountain. One of us is going to be kicked off. I've worked 10 months with the title. I want to have it for at least another year. I have Joey Soprano in my corner, great mind. I got one of my top proteges, Volcano, in the other corner. He's not gonna do well. He's gonna have a great match. It's gonna be a great match, but the outcome will be the only outcome that has been for the last 10 months. My hands raised, and the title coming home with me. This is my title. It lives at my house. I'm the king of everything, and you're the wrestling Oprah. Thank you.
A force to be reckoned with. From Web Sports Media Studios in Point Claire, Quebec, home of Montreal Hockey Talk, Parle Hockey, and Radio Fight Center, I'm Tanya Armstrong.
I'm Dru Onyx.